despite being noted as one of the greatest general collections of knowledge in the known galaxy. The Jedi archives were arranged in a surprisingly simple structure, made up of 4 long halls built off of a massive central rotunda. Every day, thousands lost themselves in the vast expanses of the archives, learning from and feeding upon its great and seemingly endless wisdom. But now, as the time approached the dead of night, only the natural resonance of the Force could be felt coursing through its halls. That, and the inexplicable footsteps of the Jensaarai Jedi Blade Master, Nikos Tyrus. He walked warily, clutching the hilt of his lightsaber. His face was set in tones of both exhaustion and grim determination. He knew he'd found something that made him challenge the very ideals of the Jedi Order. Something that could very well change the course of history. That night, the first Jensaarai was born. During a search of the Jedi archives, Tyrus uncovered an ancient Sith manuscript, through which he learned much about the old Sith Wars, as well as the birth of the first Jedi. Written by an ardent follower of Exar Kun, the manuscripts contain a great deal of knowledge regarding Sith culture and lore, and most of it was even historically accurate, save one crucial detail. The manuscript claimed that the Jedi stole everything they knew from the Sith, taking their knowledge, culture, and tradition before exiling them from the Order. Any sane Jedi at this point would have begun to question the validity of the manuscript. But Tyrus was far too gone, far too enraptured by the prospect of hidden knowledge to give up now. Accepting the manuscripts as true, Tyrus turned his back on the Order, resolved to set things right and back on the true path of the light. Jensaarai is a Sith word for hidden follower of the truth. As the Sarai Kar, I am the keeper of that truth. From the Jensaarai's hidden base in the Suarbi system, Tyrus developed the Sarai, meaning truth in the ancient Sith language. Sarai, or Sa'arai, was an amalgamation of both Jedi and Sith teachings, as well as Tyrus' own insights on the true path of the Jedi. Claiming the title of Sarai Kar, Tyrus led his Jensaarai successfully for several years leading up to the outbreak of the Clone Wars. Eventually and inevitably, Tyrus and his followers turned, albeit unknowingly, to the dark side. And when the Sarai Kar was approached by Count Dooku, apprentice of the Sith Lord Sidious himself, he willingly pledged his allegiance. Following Qui-Gon Jinn's death to the Sith assassin Darth Maul, the Council was more convinced than ever that the Sith, after nearly a millennium of hiding, had finally re-emerged. Desperate, countless Jedi were dispatched by the Council to dedicate their lives towards investigating the Sith matter. Among these Jedi was Najah Halcyon, who, joined by 2 similarly capable Jedi companions, tracked rumor of Sith cultist activity to Sassefi. Here, he found himself face to face with Nikos Tyrus and his order of Jensaarai. The Jensaarai, taller than me, darker, entirely humanoid save for the proboscises uncurling in his excitement, ignited his blue blade and closed with me. Nikos Tyrus. His name came easily to me. During his time in the Order, he had been a fearsome opponent, his blade work revered by even the greatest of masters. Then, he struck. His blade met mine, sparks flying as they crashed into each other. Then, he bounced his blade up and over me and brought it across in a slash meant to decapitate me. Rotating my wrists, I swept my blade back low, through where his legs should have been, but he leapt up and away from my strike, and landed easily 4 meters away from me. I could feel blood coating the left side of my face, and swiped at it with the left sleeve of my tunic. I heard the crunch of gravel beneath his boots as Tyrus approached. Drawing myself up into a crouch, I glanced to my right, and finally saw my lightsaber lying there, 2 meters away. I reached out, trying to call it into my hand, but it didn't come. It is true what they have said about the Halcyon line. You are wing-clipped Minox. An evil smile spread across Tyrus's face as he brought his lightsaber around to display. You are a line of weakness. I smiled, knowing what I had to do. Suddenly, I launched myself towards my lightsaber, my right hand reaching for it. My body twisted in the air as I flew. I landed on my back, skidding the last few centimeters to where my hand closed around the blade's hilt. But, even still, it was too late. Tyrus stabbed his blade down through my chest. The azure blade melted flesh and boiled blood as it went, reducing my heart to sweet smoke and steam. On further it stabbed, exploding arteries and burning through my spine. The lower part of my body went numb, though I barely noticed. I was dying, and I knew it, and regrets poured in with the pain. With one last burst of energy, Halcyon flung the wounded Jensaarai into their makeshift base. Their deaths, causing a release of dark side energy that destroyed all foundations of their order, leaving the Jedi to assume that the Sith cultists of Susefi were vanquished. However, some survived. With Tyrus' death, those still remaining of the Sacred Order departed from Susefi, swearing vengeance upon the Jedi Order. Eventually, the wife of one of the slain apprentices took title of Sarai Kar for herself, and went on to train the next generation of Jensaarai. We hid from the Jedi and mourned and buried our dead. We had been sealed together, bound together by death. There, we made new memory from the tragedy. And thus, the Jensaarai went into hiding. Years passed, and when the Jedi Order fell, the Jensaarai cheered, believing themselves liberated and free to practice their view of the Force. Some, including the Sarai Kar's own son, even went to assist Darth Vader in hunting down the remaining Jedi. But Vader sensed only the light side within the boy, and using his lightsaber, cut him down where he stood. Shocked by the Empire's betrayal and the death of our own son, the Sarai Kar and the Jensaarai once again retreated into hiding. Following the death of Palpatine and Darth Vader, an Imperial Moff by the name of Leonia Tavira arrived on and conquered the planet of Susefi, where the Jensaarai had once again taken refuge. Mistakenly believing Tavira to be their liberator, the Jensaarai pledged to serve under the former Moff, and under her orders, departed the planet to hunt down the Jedi Knight Corran Horn. Catching the Jedi off guard, the Jensaarai were on the brink of winning the fight when Luke Skywalker appeared, and together with Horn, defeated them. After further questioning, the captured Jensaarai told the two Jedi of their philosophies as descendants of the true Jedi. Both Skywalker and Horn were shocked to discover that, since the death of Tyrus, the Jensaarai had been taught an entirely conflicting version of history to the rest of the galaxy. The Jensaarai believed that the Jedi were Darksiders, the Sith, champions of the light. Thus, after freeing the Jensaarai from the clutches of Moff Tavira, the new Jedi Order extended to them an olive branch of alliance. Jedi, Jensaarai, we are neither. To survive the conflicts of the future, we cannot be. But, in the greater Jedi tradition of service, woven together, our bond will be so strong we can never be torn apart again. Our alliance will carry on through the halls of time, and our friendship will ignite the stars. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.